welcome back to the channel. This is interesting times, and it is indeed interesting times. This morning is November 13th, 2024. It is the day of the congressional hearings on unidentified anomalous phenomena. It's been a minute since I made a video. I've had quite an interesting year for a number of reasons, and at some point I'll probably break down some videos on all of that, but long and short, life happens, things are stressful. There's a lot going on right now. Right now, we've got the congressional hearings slated for today. There's going to be 4 people testifying in front of Congress. If you've been in this space at all, you're going to be very familiar with some of these names. I'm going to just go ahead and real quick, just kind of give a quick overview of who they are. I'm not going to get into depth. I'm putting this out beforehand just to notify anybody that has me subscribed that, hey, today's a day that something's going on that you might want to look at C-SPAN. So number one, Luis Elizondo, he's going to be testifying, and he's very popular in the UAP UFO community these days. Most people know who he is. He's been doing a lot of media. One of the things that let me know that this was getting to a tipping point where normal people are now talking about it is he was on Mia Bialik's Breakdown, which she's Blossom and Big Bang Theory, but her audience wouldn't be like me. And she also very much straight up said during the interview, she's like, I'm a skeptic and I don't believe. And it seemed like she definitely had some interesting kind of takes from it. But if it's bleeding out into the normal space, then it's starting to be a bigger topic where people that just aren't aware. There are people that still don't think that UFOs are real, even though it's been announced quite a long time ago that they were. So Luis Elizondo is a former head of ATIP, the Advanced Aeronautic Threat Identification Program, and he's retired from the government. He got out, and he's had a big hand in bringing those videos out that came out a number of years ago, the Go Fast video, the Tic Tac video, the Gimbal video, and he's an interesting cat. As a matter of fact, got his book right here, which is really interesting. I highly suggest you read it, especially if you're not familiar with this space. But I'm also fortunate enough, I'll be going to see him speak on November 18th, I believe. He's going to be in Missouri, and I live not horribly far away, so I'm going to make a trip out, go ahead and see them, and see him in a speaking environment, maybe closed settings, see if, there are any inferences, any light shed, or just to see what it's about, because he's having this right after the congressional hearings. Today's the 13th. This is going to be on the 18th. I'll make a video summing that up, exactly what was talked about, what was discussed, the vibe of it, what people are thinking, and I'll present that after I get back on that from next week. But a little quick synopsis that I have for him. He alleges that U.S. military has been operating a UAP retrieval and reverse engineering program for years. In his prepared testimony, he emphasizes that UAPs are real and advanced technologies that are not made by any government, and they're monitoring sensitive military installations globally. And because of the stigma that's associated with UFOs and UAPs, you almost can't get anybody to pay attention unless it's going to be a threat. So the national security aspect of it, I'm sure, is going to be central to his theme. Number 2 is retired Rear Admiral Timothy Gallaudet. I don't know the proper pronunciation. It looks French. Should be Day, but it's probably dead. And he's currently an oceanographer. If he made it to Admiral, he's got a significant naval background. And he's basically going to talk about the Go Fast video. That's the one with the Tic Tac in it. And I believe that he was present in that situation, and that there were things that happened that were squirrely. Like, I believe that when he was emailing through, DOD email, which I am also prior DOD military, so I know how those systems, they're encrypted. I'm sure they're monitored. I never really thought that my emails were monitored, but he sent an email trying to get more information on this, and they were just deleted internally, so there was no record of it. And I have a feeling that he's going to talk about that somewhat. Michael Schellenberger, Shelley's an independent journalist. He has reported on several programs, but the most recent that comes to mind has caused a lot of stir because it was on somewhat normal media, but it was about the Immaculate Constellation program with the Pentagon, which is the actual, I guess it's the internal name for the craft recovery and reverse engineering program. And, you know, every time those two come up, there's always a hat trick. And the third part of it is that biologics were recovered. So I don't know if they'll get into that or not, but I'm curious to see what he says. I know that he was recently on Joe Rogan, and there are other environments in which you can see him speak on this topic. The only one on here that I wasn't necessarily super familiar with, I was familiar with the name, but not anything specific, not enough to off the cuff it. Michael Gold, former NASA administrator and currently chief growth officer at Redwire Space. He's going to outline new ways for NASA to be helpful on the UAP issue. And he basically stresses that agencies such as NASA have much to offer when it comes to understanding UAPs. So, like, fucking duh. Like, why is like NASA not already knee deep in this? I have same questions for the Air Force, prior Air Force. Like, matter of fact, that's part of the reason why when I came out of the military, if you'd asked me if UFOs were real, I would have been like, no, because I wasn't like anybody of importance, but I had clearances and I worked in an environment where if there was a conflict environment where if there was to be something from the sky that was to invade the aerial space, it'd be something that would have directly impacted my job. So I would have imagined that there would have been some sort of briefing, read up on it or something. And there was nothing. So I'm not specifically sure what time that is today. It's going to vary depending on where you are in the country. I'm quite sure that you'll be able to Google it and go to your respective news outlet, or you can wait for the sound bites to drop, and they'll be on Insta and YouTube and all of those places. I'm just popping this video out to be like, hey, everybody, heads up, there's a thing happening today. Number two, I'll do a more in-depth summary and give my take on it when that's concluded. I'm very curious to see how this is going to play out, because it really feels like there's a bubbling up there's a confluence of things happening that I feel like it's going to overflow. And I feel like it's going to potentially overwhelm people that haven't been paying attention to this. I do spend time talking with it. I talk a lot about it with people. Like before, I wouldn't have talked about it with somebody that I worked with, or somebody that I thought it would impact me in any way. Now, at this point, now I don't really give a crap. I will talk to anybody about it that is interested in the topic and would like to further their knowledge and understanding. From my encounters over the past year talking to people, a surprisingly large amount look at me like it's the first time they've ever contemplated the fact that a UFO could be real. Now, yesterday, surprisingly, I did talk to my boss. I took a little bit of time off to go see Lou. And he was like, what are you doing? You doing anything fun? And instead of saying something like going to your mama's house, I decided to just be straight up with him. And I was like, hey, so I keep tabs on things that are important and relevant to me. And one of those topics is UAP, formerly known as UFOs. And he got real interested real quick. And we just chatted for a minute. And he kind of let me know that when he was a younger individual, he was about 12, and he outlined the shape that he saw, and he said he's a full believer. And I said, well, you know, I appreciate when people say they do or they don't, but it doesn't really matter if you believe it or not. It was announced a while ago, and it's a factoid. It's a thing that's happening. Now, getting into the weeds of what it is, that's a whole different other thing, because anybody that's sitting here trying to tell you they know what it is lying to you. They are selling you a bad bill of goods if they're trying to get you on board. And be leery of people that are looking for money to. You can get closer to this if you pay. Don't. Dr. Stephen Greer, don't. Yeah, I don't think that anything that's coming from this is something that's intended to be profited by or anything of that nature. Not for humans. I do believe this is one of those things where it's for the enlightenment of people. I think this is something that's supposed to help better our understanding of things, but I'm still grasping at straws, trying to piece things together. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to frame this, because honestly, unless you're directly interacting with whatever this is, the only reason I have any idea and can be like, I don't know what it is, but this is the kind of thing I've been exposed to. So it's firsthand experience. I'm not saying that I saw somebody have this thing or they had this experience and this is the truth. I'm just telling you what happened to me, what I've seen, what I've encountered, what I've witnessed personally, and what it's done to me. It's been life-altering, good and bad, because it's once you break out of the intellectual box that you're contained in, it becomes very difficult to go back and to just play normal in the real world. I'm finding those struggles. This year has been one where I've been kind of going through it a bit. This is a topic I enjoy immensely. I very much enjoy addressing the public, and I am going to more continually on a regular basis do videos and put them out, especially because it's going to get hot. There's a lot of things happening. So thank you very much for tuning in. Look forward to a follow-up video for this, and we'll just kind of go together and talk about what they said. I'll probably try to do one of those. I've been working on software and everything to make this a little bit better, more enjoyable experience and look more professional. I'm going to do an inset box with maybe some of the clips, and we can review that together. And then, as always, the basis for this is conversation and understanding. So hopefully that we can address any questions you may have in the topic and just discuss further and see how we go. But thank you very much for tuning in. I very much appreciate everybody being here. You don't have to be. So that means a lot. I know the handful of people that tune in, they appreciate it. So shout out to the people that do, especially the people that have reminded me recently that it's been a minute since I've done a video and I need to do one. So thank you very much. Happy Hearing Day.